Okay, so recording has been started and now we'll continue. So today and tomorrow, right? The topics which we'll be covering is most probably are what are the different components we have in Camunda 8. So mostly when we talk about the components, the product offers with the predefined package of different UIs, right? And engines. So that is mostly around the console. We'll discuss about what these components are in detail, but however, we should know what the components it will come, and these components right will be discussing day in day out whenever we will be having those sessions, and we will be also using it in hands-on exercises as well. Then modeler is something which has been used by the developers, okay, in order to create the low code applications, right, by using BPMN, CMMN as well as DMN and forms. Apart from that, we'll be also discussing the Zeebe. So Zeebe is something revolutionary engine which has been introduced into the Camunda 8 platform. Okay, and that is where the whole restructuring of the component has been done. So we'll be discussing about Zeebe engine. Then what else? Anybody else knows about the different components what we have in the Camunda 8? No, no problem. So apart from that, we'll be discussing about operate. Operate is a replacement of cockpit, which we will be using in the Camunda 7. Okay, in Camunda 8, the product has introduced a new component which is operate used for by actually the system admin users. Okay, so that has been used by the sys admins for the troubleshooting and monitoring purpose specifically. And modular, you need to think about it like it has been used by the end developers to design and develop applications and optimize. Optimize is been used by management users. So whenever we create applications, right, it also consists of many data, right? When we have any application from start to end, there will be different, what you can say, the business statuses will be around. So at the end, right, at the top level management, they also wanted to get some dashboards or reports to be created, right, as part of the process mining, we'll say. So what has been process mining is the processes which we already have been created or developed, right? Based on that, we'll do some mining, okay, for the management users to create some reports as well as dashboards. So it comes with very like many predefined reports and dashboards as well, which you can publish as part of the stats as well as the pie charts and graphical interfaces as well. So it is again all low code things. You have to do some customizations only, okay, and also you can create some heap maps as well. So heap map is something when you are creating any application, right? It might have different stages or what you can say with the work steps. We can have some visualization around, right? Which particular activity has been frequently used, okay? Which activities are not being used, or if a particular activity within a process has been used, right? It is taking more time to process. So all these visualization and the statistics, right? We can get it by using optimize. And the last is task list. So task list, as the name suggests, right, it is providing a life cycle of processing the tasks. The task is like whenever we are using any user task, okay, in a particular process, we'll discuss about what are the user tasks are, okay. But let's say when we are creating any application in Camunda, okay, and it has involved some task. So task is like where somebody else as a manually has to complete a particular task, right? Which has been there. So in order to process them, okay, it you don't have to create a new screen, okay, though you can create it, but product provides a inbuilt component which is a task list in order to process and manage user tasks. Okay. Apart from that, there are other options as well, okay, which we will discuss. But mostly, if somebody asks you, right, what are the components and why they have been used. And then these are the core components which will be involved in the Camunda 8. And the description what I have mentioned, right? This is the primary reason for having those particular out of the box UI components. Good. So now if you also see, right, this is how the Camunda, when you do the installation, right, this is how the Camunda homepage will look like. So it, as I mentioned, right, we have a console. So console is basically used for seeing the dashboard as well as the cluster, and organization is, which means if you want to manage some users, create and delete some users, right, you wanted to do. It has different tabs. When we will be having the detailed classes, right, we'll be having all the we'll discuss all these particular tabs and screens as well. But just to give an overview about how the product will look like, right? So first is the console part. So again, in the common date, we have this SaaS version, which is service as a software, okay, where you can have a trial version and you can use it as a service, okay? You don't have to do any additional things. So just register yourself and you will be having an account valid for 30 days. Then you can have this option as modeler. So modeler, as the name suggests it, you'll be able to model your application. So which means when you have those applications to be managed, right, you can create different projects here. Okay. So project is something where usually the and developer side can create the project to create the particular application. So applications will look like this, right? Any VPM application, if you create, right, it will have a graphical representation. So it has some different type of activities which we'll discuss. Okay, what are these graphical notations? You can see something is in circle, something is in what you can say rectangle size, something is in diamond shape. So all these are what you can say the BPMN elements and notations, and every these shapes, right, have a specific role to play when we are using those particular activities. Okay. So even if you see the similar objects, right, this is also circle and this is as well a circle. So these are known as events actually, but again with the they have a same shape, but you can say the boundaries are different, right? So that's where those different graphical notations we can use even within this circular. You can say a clock is inside, which is known as timer event. Okay, something else is there. So all this we will be learning in detail. Okay, what is the purpose of these particular events? That is something I'm going to take like as it's a fundamental and foundation course, right? So there, right, we'll be emphasizing more almost to understand those particular topics and hands-on exercises for a minimum a week of time, okay, to understand. And then we'll be having some exercises as well around it. So all these things, right, you can see here, right, these are the exercises usually, and there will be more as well. Like there are around 7 to 8 exercises will be there. So projects will be there. So these all are the exercises which students have created, okay, in the previous sessions as well, in order to understand the exception handling, or maybe if we have any other learning side. So what is a service task? All these exercises will be doing. So to understand, right, modeler is something where you can create or develop your applications. Okay, it has many features, and that is the component mostly 80% of the time we'll be using, right? Because when we need to understand what are the features of that, and that is what the purpose of training, right? It is a low code. You can create your applications like quickly and efficiently and easily as well. But to do that, there are a lot of drag and drops are there in a product, right? There are a lot of features are there. So this training is going to enable you how to use those particular elements. Okay. If somebody will say, right, create an application. So there are many ways of creating an application. So there are options, right? Creating a new project, you can go and create a project, give a name. Okay. You can also import something in existing project. So where these features are there, right? What are the purpose of different particular icons are there. So that all, right, we'll be uh, doing it throughout the classes. Okay. And by middle of the session itself, you'll be very much familiar with this particular component itself. Then we have a task list. So task list is something whenever we create a application, as I mentioned, right? It has some user tasks. So let me show what a user task will be. Okay, so whenever you have this icon, right, something like human icon will be there. Okay, these are known as user tasks. Okay, so what happens is apart from that, everything are service or system tasks will define in a BPMN. Okay, so when a user task will be involved, it will be processed by an end user. Okay, so there are certain activities or tasks will be requiring that which will be required some review, or maybe we want to get some action to be taken by an end user, or maybe we want to expose some user forms, okay, where we want to gather some additional information from the end user side. So for all such type of activities, there is a predefined task is there, which is a user task, which can be processed by a particular user or maybe by a group of users, which we also known as a role. Okay. So for having those user tasks to be enabled to be processed, right, when we deploy it, we don't have to do the re-engineering again, right? That's what the purpose of low-code platform. So all those tasks, right, when we deploy those processes, they will be visible in a predefined component, which is known as task list. Okay. So in a task list, users can go and see what are the tasks which has been pending to be processed, okay, based on their role. So when they will log in, right, based upon their ID, system will identify, right, what what particular processes and what particular user task, right, which are enabled for a particular user. Okay, so a user can only see those tasks, okay, based on his role. So there are different roles are there. Okay, that also will be discussing what are those particular different roles are there. Like if you are logging as a admin user, then you will be able to see all the tasks for all the processes because it's a super user in a particular application, right? And then apart from task list, we have an operate. So operate as name suggests, right? It has been used in order to see like when you create many applications, right, you also deploy them. Okay, once you deploy them, you can see if you want to see like there are any issues or there are any exceptions in a particular process instance, right? So what is the process instance? You just as of now think about it, a particular unique ID, okay, or instance of a application. So when you deploy an application, there could be thousands or millions of transactions will be there, right? So if you want to monitor something, right, what has happened with a particular process instance, so to do that, that monitoring or troubleshooting, you will use this operate. Okay. So where usually the admin users, right, will go and see what is the deployment status, how many applications have been deployed. Okay. If an application has been deployed, how many instances are there? So if an instances, we can see, we can also differentiate based on how many instances are active, which is in a running state. So running state is a process has been started, but it has not completed yet. Okay. It is in between the process. Okay. And then we can also see what are the processes which have been already completed. Okay, and then there are many other things as well, like if any exceptions are there, we can also modify some data of a particular instance, okay, in order to fix those issues. We can also see the details of the exceptions, though we can go back into the logs and we can see the detailed logs, but at a high level, right, if we want to see the details of an exception or error, if has occurred for any particular instance, maybe due to any enforcement situation, maybe due to business data. Will not go into the detail of exception because that will be a specific, what you can say, a topic which will be discussing in detail after we learn about all the happy path scenarios, because that is where you have to be enabled, right? You don't have to only model your processes for the happy path scenario, but also we'll discuss about the exception handling. So the thing is, when you have those exceptions, right, and you want to see what has been happened with the particular instance, you can go and monitor those particular instances using the operate screen. which is again out of the box UI provided by the product itself. You don't have to re-engineering it again. And then also it also enable you to make those particular instances fixed, okay, by modifying some data or doing some resume operations from there. In the last, there will be a screen which is known as optimize. And one more thing, that operate screen will also talk about some comparisons on a high level between a Camunda 7 and Camunda 8. Okay. So in Camunda 7, right, this operate was not there. Okay. Instead of that, it was a different component will be there, which was known as cockpit. Okay. So if somebody will ask you a cockpit or operate, they are same, but they have been introduced or been part of the components into different versions of the Camunda. Camunda 7, we'll call it as cockpit. However, in Camunda 8, we'll known it as a operate. So operate is normally being used for visualizing and monitoring or troubleshooting your process instances at the real time. Okay. Last, not the least, this is optimized screen. So whenever we have to deal with the advanced reporting or dashboards or reporting capabilities, right? In order to track some metrics, okay, what as I mentioned, right, when you create any processes at the high level or at the top management level, right, they are not going to go and do the processing of the instances. They will be requiring some key data, right, about your processes in terms of different kind of what you can say columns, okay, or different metrics. And maybe they also want to understand what are the pain points, okay, as BPMN, right, it also support the agile methodology. So we also have a scope of improvement for any process, right? Maybe in order to have additional features to be added, or maybe we want to improve on the existing processes itself by in order to improve the performance and other things. So for fixing those things, first we want to know the pain points are, right, where the issues are actually. So that all you can get by having some different kind of dashboards and an analysis or maybe the reports to which can be shared with the management users by using optimize product. Last and not least, which is not there in the mention, right, Zeebe, because it's a backend, what you can say, product engine, okay, which helps in to automate and orchestrate the instances, right? Like it will take it is the Zeebe engine is the heart and soul of the product, okay, which enables the processing or the creation or deployment of all those processes, right, as part of the product. And why they have introduced Zeebe in Camunda 8, okay? Why it is not there in the Camunda 7, what is the requirement of that? So in terms of the features, if you think about, right, Camunda 7 and Camunda 8 doesn't have much differences, okay? It's still, there is a major release of Camunda 8. So what are those differences, right? Mostly you can think about it is a restructuring of the architecture of the product when they move from Camunda 7 to Camunda 8, okay? Not additional features, but why it is required to have this transition or a reformation when they move from 7 to 8. The most common thing what you can tell to anybody, right? It is something, the performance and scalability. Okay. So with the Camunda 8, right, you can process like millions of transactions in a day, okay, without having any latency issue. That is where how the powerful Zeebe engine is all about, and how we can do that, how it can be enabled. That is something we'll be having a detailed session when we are learning about the Zeebe engine in detail. Any doubts, guys, so far? Are you able to follow it? Cool. If everything is fine, what I'll do is we also enable us to have this installation done, right, in your machine. So to do that, just follow me over here. You have to type this Camunda 8 trial, okay? Or if not, what you can also do is you can, I'll share this link with you over the chat. I want each and every one of you, right, to have this installation done. So just follow me here first, how to do the installation, right, or setup to make yourself enable with the, what you can say, the license version of Camunda product. So when you navigate to this particular URL, you can see this page. Is that page visible, right? And it is very easy to understand as well. But let me tell you what all details and what are the options you can have in order to create your account here. So first is you can give the details manually here. Okay. You can give your first name, last name, your email address and password, which you want to use whenever you try to access the Camunda 8 trial version. Please make a note, this particular trial version, right? It has all the latest features which has been part of the product. Okay, it's an enterprise product. We have discussed about the open source, which is community version, as well as enterprise, which is mean companies are paying for it, right? But for that's a beautiful part of the product as well. You can get all those latest features, right, with the absolutely free of use for 30 calendar days, which means if you are signing up today, right, it will be valid for next 30 days. The first thing is you can provide all these details. Second thing is if you have, I'm sure you will be having, okay, any Google account, which means any Gmail account, or you have a GitHub account, you can also sign up by clicking on that. Okay. So once you click on that, right, it will ask what are the different Gmail accounts you will be having, right? So you can just provide your Gmail account, and with that, right, you will be able to create an account. Actually. So once an account is created, you will be redirected to this particular screen of console. Any questions here, or you have any doubts? For other details, right, you can see here what are the features which will be available with this free account includes. You can do this particular activity within 2 to 5 minutes. It won't take much of time. Okay. Still, if anybody is having any troubles or issues, right, in this session today, though it's very simple, but again, it's very important, right, in order to enable you to get understand this product very well. And this is very important. So just do that. Okay. I'll take a pause for maybe 2 to 5 minutes. Soon you are able to do that, right? Just give me a thumbs up or you can acknowledge by unmuting yourself and confirm you are able to install or not. I'll take a pause meanwhile. Yeah, anyone has completed that so far? Come on, guys, say at least yes or no and share me the status. Mohan, Manda, Shubham, are you there? Am I audible to you guys? Shubham?
Yes, sir.
Guys, if I'm asking something, please respond right as yes or no. Have you able to do that? This is for you guys, right? Not for me. If you don't speak, you don't interact with me as we are doing it online mode, right? How I'll be able to interact with you guys? This is something for your learning, right? I'm giving just a very basic exercise to do the setup. Have you able to complete this exercise? If you are speaking, you're on mute. Just unmute yourself. Shubham, I'm speaking with you. Please
Yes,
unmute
sir.
yourself.
Yes. I'm attending this meeting on my phone, so uh, I'll get it through
Okay.
the recordings and
Okay. So at
yes,
least you should have told me, right? So we cannot wait for much time. It's an exercise for 2, 3 minutes. We already have spent more than 5 minutes with. So understood.
yes,
You will be doing it after the session. Okay.
yes,
What
yes.
about you, Mohan and Manda? Can you please unmute yourself and confirm? Or is it the same status? You are also joining from the Mumbai. If you can type something, Manda, here, that will be better because I'm not able to get your audio clear. And Mohan, you can confirm me whether you have done the setup or not, or you will be doing it later.
Sir, I opened the link, but Zoom meeting is not visible, sir.
It is not visible now, or it is not visible since you have joined. Mohan, question is from you. Is it not visible now, or it is not visible since the beginning you have joined?
Uh, Not now, sir. Before link is
Then,
open.
okay. So then it's almost we have completed half of the session. Others are able to see that. If you have any troubles, you have any problems, you should tell me, right? Why, how I will understand. I am asking for the 10th time, then you are saying all this thing. Okay. Do one thing. If I think Shubham, are you able to see this screen which I have shared? Shubham, can you please confirm once?
We are
Yes,
able to see your screen, Deepak.
yes.
Okay, then it's an issue, Mohan, at your side. What you can do is maybe you can reconnect the meeting again. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And if there are such issues, I strongly recommend you guys to tell me upfront. I was asking for audio, right? And I also asked for my video sharing as well, my screen sharing as well. You guys have mentioned it is visible. If somebody is not able to see, like Mohan, you should have told me, right, by unmuting yourself. There is no harm in doing that. It's actually a loss for you where you are not able to see that. And I'm waiting. I'm expecting, like, if there is no negative comments, okay, which means everybody is able to see that and following what I'm presenting. So please be interactive in this session. This session is, guys, for you. Okay. And if you are not speaking for yourself, then it's not going to work out well. Cool. So I assume you guys will be doing it offline. Okay. I waited for some time and let's proceed for other tasks. Okay. So overall, these are the components. Okay. We'll discuss about the architecture as well. Maybe once we discuss about the Camunda 7 and Camunda 8 differences, key differences, and I think installation part has been done. So this installation setup is very easy because we have done the installation for the Camunda 8. And then when we do it, Camunda 8 as a trial version, right? We have two different options. First is service as a software, which is where you have a account to be created, right? Then you have to create the clusters and you have to assign your machines, right? To get the configuration details in order to connect with the Spring Boot application. All these things we'll do it later, but as of now, right, within a few minutes, you'll be able to create your account. Okay. There is a second option is also there where you have to do it on the VM, okay, by like which is on-premise installation and setup, where you need to do this installation and setup by creating the what you can say the configuration files using Kubernetes or Docker, okay, which is a bit fair complex, okay, but in order to get the understanding right, this is the preferred mode. What I will say easier for the new learners, okay, where this installation setup is quite smooth and simpler, okay. Though we'll be understanding how we can do the installation and setup by using the containerized manner as well by using Dockers or Kubernetes. And the third part is how we can do it on the VMs where we can do the installation and setup as part of the Spring Boot microservices. So there are these three different installation setups we'll be doing. And in practically in organizations, we'll be doing most likely as a second and third option. Mhm. Right. So these points we have already discussed in the Friday session. Now, in the Camunda learning, right, the key concepts which we are going to learn is basically the object management group standards and notation, which has been around into BPMN, CMMN, and DMN. All these three are the standards and notation which has been governed by a group of companies. Okay. There are like 11 or 11 plus companies are there which has come together and created an organization which is known as object management group, and they are governing these standards and notations of the low code, okay, which means they are just maintaining the notations, okay. Apart from that, when products will create any product which has been aligned for these particular standards and notation like Pega or Camunda or Caseflow or APN, all these are low code platform which are using this notation. Maybe some products are using all the three standards and notation, few of them are using any one or two as well, okay. It depends upon what they want to create or what they want to offer as a product, right, in terms of the low code notation. So these are the standards notation usually which has been available in part as a Camunda. Then apart from that, we'll be also learning how we can create the UIs by using the forms, which is again part of the product. You don't have to create any UIs, you don't have to write the JavaScripts, or you don't have to create the HTMLs, okay. So these are again low code where you have the form and you can do the drag and drop. And also we'll see how the artificial intelligence, right, is been enabled, and which will help us to create the forms by just what you can say, what you think about of a form, right? If you, let's say, you want to create a form for loan application, you don't even have to drag and drop all the components, right? Like in a loan application, you want to create the some text fields like what is the customer name, okay? Then you may have some date fields, what is the date of birth, when a particular customers want to apply for a loan, okay? And maybe you can have some numeric fields where you might want to get the details from the customer, like what is the amount of loan they are looking out for, okay? Maybe what is the annual gross salary or monthly expenses, all these things, right? You might be thinking and you don't have to code it, you just have to drag and drop, which is there still in Camunda 8 and 7. But again, we can have an inclusion of artificial intelligence here, right? Where you can just think about and tell the product what type of component and form you want to create. Engine itself will generate a form for you, okay? And then you may modify that form, okay? It will be a basic template actually. We don't have to even think about of all these details. And then you want to delete something, or you want to add something, or you want to modify some UI fields, right? That you can do. So again, forms is a very what you can say, useful and strong feature, okay? By using which, right, we can achieve the entire low code application development to be enabled by using this product. Again, this product comes as a very flexible and open source architecture, as we discussed before. So even if you want to create a headless integration of your Camunda, right, with other microservice or application, where you want to have the UI component to be separate, that also can be done, okay? Or maybe you want to do some customizations, right? That is always been there, okay? But again, it depends upon use case to use case. Then if you have any knowledge about Java basics, right, and what are the REST APIs, it is always an added advantage. It's not a mandatory thing to learn. But again, these things, right, will be covering here when we are designing the applications and we are integrating the, like we'll be creating a microservice altogether for the Camunda platform, right, which has all the dependencies as part of the form. And even that exercise you will be doing it by hands-on by yourself, where I'll be guiding you how to do that, okay? We'll create a project from the scratch, and then again there will be writing some service codes as well in a Java, okay? And which you will be integrating with your Camunda BPM application, where you are using some service task, or maybe you are using some REST API connectors. So how we can execute them, right? That will be learning. But if you already having an idea, right, about what is the Java backend thing, it will be an added advantage. The most important thing is when we have this Camunda 8 launch, right? The best part is until Camunda 7, you can always have a programming to be done, right, in terms of Java, okay, as a programming language. However, Camunda 8 introduces a Zeebe engine, right, where you can do the integration with the Camunda with any programming language. Maybe it's a C language, Python, Java, .NET, anything. Okay, so that's what the added advantage, okay, of having the Camunda 8 to be launched. And there are many, but yeah, again, to give one of the key differentiation, right, when we talk about Camunda 7 and Camunda 8. And also we'll be learning what are the benefits of Camunda 8 as a universal process orchestrator. Okay, so Camunda 8, when it has been launched, right, it has also come up with a tagline, which is a universal process orchestrator. That is what the key feature and the product want to highlight when they are launching, which means orchestrator is something you might be knowing, right? Whenever we do any automation or orchestration, orchestration is something a particular service which is sitting at the center of your ecosystem, and it will be orchestrating, which means it will be integrating with all other services around. Okay, the center service will be known as a master service, right, which has an integration with all other different microservices or third parties. Okay, so that center service is known as an orchestrator. So most of the organization nowadays, right, they are using Camunda BPM as an orchestrator, which means it has a capability to integrate with all other particular different applications, whether it's a REST API, whether it's a messaging queue you want to integrate as a Kafka or RabbitMQ or JMS, or you want to have an integration by sending emails. Okay, so it has REST connectors for integrating with the AWS cloud, or maybe with the Slack application, with the Jira application, with the Google Cloud, with the REST API connectors. All those are the connectors which has been enabled or which has been provided as part of the product, Camunda 8 product. And with each and every release, these connectors are getting added. Okay, so that's where when you have those connectors, what does it mean by the connectors? These are out of the box, what you can see, the components in the product, where let's say if you want to send or maybe you want to connect with the Google Drive, right? You don't have to write all the code for that. Just use a connector of Google Drive, which is available in the product. Okay, and you have to do the only the configurations in order to enable it. And similarly, if you want to use any API, right? API is something like any other application which are exposing some, what you can say, details. Okay, you want to integrate your product with any other microservice. We are living in a microservice world, right? So API is like it follows the REST principles, which is like you want to get something, you want to post something, you want to update something, or you want to delete something. So other application is having all this detail. They can expose as a part of REST API. So in order to use in Camunda, you don't have to write any code. Just use a REST connector and do the configuration. Configuration means what is the URL for that? What are the parameters? Okay, you want to pass. And if you want to enable the security as well, right? All these things are configuration thing. So that's how easy it is. And similar is for the other connectors as well. So that's where you can do the connectivity or integration with all other third-party applications, right? That's why it is called as universal process orchestration as well. What are the benefits of using Camunda 7? So if you are not using Camunda 8, okay, still you are working on Camunda 7, then what are the key differentiations between 7 and 8, and why you should use the Camunda 7? That will be understanding and learning here. Because when they come up with many features right around it, they also have to compromise on some features as well, which has been still part of the Camunda 7 and not available in the Camunda 8. Like in Camunda 7, we have all the three standard notations, right? BPMN for structured processing, we can say CMMN, which is used for dynamic workflow design, or which are semi-structured, okay, or which are more event-driven, we can say. And DMN is when you write some business rules, okay, that is where we'll use. So in Camunda 8, CMMN is not been available, okay, it is not part of the Camunda 8 due to the restructuring of the architecture, okay, and the backend components. So Zeebe engine has been introduced, right? So when Zeebe engine has been introduced, it doesn't support the case management modeling and notation, which is CMMN. Okay. Likewise, there are some features, right, which is not available in the Camunda 8. So that's what we are also going to understand. What are the benefits of using Camunda 7, and in which scenario we should continue to use Camunda 7, and which scenarios we should use the Camunda 8 as a preferred choice. How to use Camunda 8 in each phase of the process orchestration? What are the some use cases examples of the Camunda 8? Okay, for having the detailed information about the documentation, product comes with a detailed what you can say enterprise documentation as well as part of the Camunda products and features. So that actually I'm always sharing at the end of the, what you can say, the training part as well. There will be a lot of what you can say articles and documentations will be shared, but for now I'll be sharing these two what you can say links where you can go and cross check like the different, or what you can say, the components which has been described, right? And also will be learning in the upcoming sessions as well if you are interested. So I've shared those links in the chat section. Now, as I mentioned before, right, like when we are learning about the Camunda, it's not only about learning the Camunda, okay? But apart from that, we are also going to have a strong knowledge and understanding on other few BPM tools as well, which belongs from the JBPM family. So Camunda is also been part of the JBPM family. So JBPM is also one of the BPM tool which has been like fairly introduced in the early 2000s. Okay, so now how different products have been evolved from JBPM. Okay, and because they have been evolved from JBPM as part of their main source code, right? They still have most of the features, right, which is still been common. And maybe what you can say is they all are from the community version or open source. So their basic code structure is still same. Okay, so if you learn one product, right, then you have this ability or added advantage to work on other BPM tools as well, which are almost similar. So when I say almost similar, which means almost 70 to 80% of the components, right, they are similar to the Camunda BPM. Okay, so you just have to make extra efforts in order to understand and get familiar with the other product. So initially in year 2006, right, JBPM has been as a low code platform or as a BPM platform, right? It has been launched by the Red Hat. Okay. After that, what has happened is in 2008, actually, the founder members of Camunda today, like Jacob Fernand and one more. So they have left the organization JBPM. They started doing the freelancing of the products, okay, which has not been there. But yeah, again, the main restructuring what hasn't happened, right? In 2010, again, few key stakeholders have moved out from the company and they have created a product which is known as Activity, and that has been launched by the company Alfresco in year 2010. So it has the base code structure, okay, where they have launched the product. But then what happened in year 2013, since 2008 to 2013, almost for a phase of 5 years, they were the founder members of the Camunda BPM, right? They were working for many of the customers and they are getting more and more projects. So what they thought about is let's have create one company, okay? And that company they have called as Camunda, having an headquarter in Germany, Berlin. And the source code, right? What they have officially launched is they have taken, because it's an open source or community, right? So they have taken the latest code of the activity which is been available as a community version, right? And from there, they have forked the first version of Camunda as 7.0, okay, in year 2013. And since then, there is no looking back. Okay, it's almost a decade time officially. Okay, where they have come up with a lot of innovations and additional features, and that is where they have lots of minor and major releases across the 10 years and on a regular basis. Usually, they have two minor releases every year, which is in the summers and winters as part of the Germany. Okay, which they will increment like 7.1, then 7.2, then 7.3, 7.4, likewise. Okay. So every year they have two minor releases. What is major releases? Major releases like in 2022 April, they have come up with the first major release, which is known as Camunda 8. Okay. And apart from that, on a frequent basis, they come up with the patch releases. What is a patch? Is like they wanted to fix some issue or bugs on a immediate basis, or maybe they wanted to introduce some minor features, right? Then they also come up with the patches. So patches are like if they are running 7.16 today, let's assume, okay, then 7.16.1, okay, that's a patch release. So that's how frequently they are launching each and on a regular basis, new and new features, and also fixing the bugs which has been reported across the community. And then, yeah, year 2016 came where few key stakeholders of the activity, which has been sponsored by the Alfresco product, okay, they have come out from the company and they have created a new product which is known as Flowable, okay, that has been forked again from Activity BPM, okay, and again to the headquarter of Flowable is in Zurich, Switzerland, okay. So that is again a European company. And if you talk about Camunda and Flowable, almost, yeah, what I can say is they are almost a similar product because they both have been forked from the Activity BPM. Okay. So if you learn about Camunda, you can easily learn about Flowable as well. And if you see any job opportunities as well, right? Somebody will ask you that have you been worked into a Camunda BPM, they have an opportunity for Camunda BPM. They also ask if you have a knowledge on working flowable or activity or GBPM, it also suffices their requirement similar. And vice versa. If there is any new opportunity from flowable, then they will also check if you have worked upon on Camunda or activity or GPM, that also will suffice. If a recruiter is asking, which means if somebody has worked on a product, right, for 2 years or 3 years or maybe 5 years or 1 year, whatever the requirement is, they know that person can also work on the other tool as well, which is similar to the these products, and they complement each other. Any questions so far, guys? So again, when you are applying or you are learning this Camunda BPM, right, you will be like able to apply for the other jobs as well, which is flowable or active. And most of the time nowadays, the most popular product which has been there where we have more opportunities across, right? That is first is Camunda, and then I can see like after Camunda, the most opportunity which is coming across is from the flowable BPM and activity BPM, because most of the key stakeholders have left the organization with the time. So slowly and steadily, the demand has come below, but still, yeah, it is been there for many organizations. Okay, but most of the times you can see the open requirements for the common and flowable BPM out of these four. Here, if you want to have any questions or queries around it, it's open for you. You can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. We'll see what has. So we have also learned about journey about JBPM family, right? So what are the products we have in the JBPM family? What are the 4 BPM products we have?
It's activity BPM, flowable BPM, and Camunda BPM.
Yeah, right. Camunda and also JBPM. Thanks for answering. Now, this is the ecosystem of Camunda, okay, where why this product is getting more and more popular. The thing is, you can use it as an universal orchestrator. What does it mean is, okay, which means you can have an access or integration with all the possible endpoints, which is being mentioned here in the blue, right? If you want to automate or integrate with a human workflow, you already has this as part of any BPM product, okay? And in order to do the processing and life cycle of managing the task, which is like human task, you also have a out of the box UI component, which is task list, which is easy to manage. You have also integration with the AI. So AIs you can use in the forms. Also, you can use like AIs like Chat GPT and other integrations by integrating with the REST API, right? So any AI, if you talk about, right, they are exposing some details as part of their web services, right? So you can leverage them in order to compose your emails, okay, or maybe to get some details around it, and you can see this particular AI integration, right, in the Camunda forms, where you just have to type what type of form you want to create. Let's say you want to create a form for leave application, okay, you are working on any HR application in order to create a workflow. You want to create a form for applying a leave, just type apply leave form, it will create the entire form for you. How it is easy it is. So you have an integration with the AI. Also you have the integration with the business rules. The business rules already you can do it by using DMN, which is decision modeling and notation. So we'll have 2 or 3 dedicated sessions around it, okay, because it is very important, okay, how to use the business rules, what are the different hit policies are there. We'll have a discussion around it in depth. Then you can have the integration with the microservices. Also, we can usually in all the applications, whenever we are working on Camunda, right, we create some low code applications as part of the modeler, okay. So that particular low-code development will do in the modeler, but at the end, that particular application you'll export from the modeler and you will deploy it as part of a microservice. Okay. And again, you can also integrate with other microservices by using REST APIs. You can have integration with the APIs, RPAs, or other connectors. So you have an integration with all the endpoints. Again, from the developer point of view, okay, the it will give you a leverage if you want to write any custom code, right? So it has what you can say, the flexibility given to the developers as well, whether you want to develop your code into Python or C language or Java language, okay, or if you want to use any IDE, right? You can use IDE of your choice. You can use Eclipse, you can use IntelliJ, or maybe any other what you can say, the IDE tool which you are familiar with. So again, it is, and even if you want to use the Camunda modeler, right, you can use the desktop version, or maybe you can use the web console version. So what are these different versions, right? Again, we will see. So it gives a lot of flexibility around when we talk about the Camunda 8, because it comes with the programming language independent C as well. So you can write your code in any particular preferred language. Then comes about the management, like, okay, you can code in any language, you can use any ID, that doesn't matter to me. Okay, if I have a specific requirement, right, to do the coding in a particular programming language, we can hire those particular specialized resources as well. Again, yeah, you can do the integration with all endpoint, which is fairly good. Okay, but in an organization they will say, I want to integrate with only 2 or 3 points. Okay, but the problem is, like if you're coming with the product, right, how you want to deploy those particular, then it has fairly very good options to do the deployment into a preferred platform. What does it mean is you can do the deployment as part of cloud, okay, as part of on-premise as well. Like you want to do the installation in your virtual machines, or you want to do the installation on cloud, that is possible, because they also come up with the SaaS version in Camunda 8, service as a software, you can use it. Or if you want to do it, the deployment as a containerized platform, which means you want to do by using Kubernetes or Docker, that has also been there. So that's where the whole ecosystem is there. And I was telling when we had a discussion on the Friday, it comes with a lot of open source architecture and the flexibility, where how you want to develop, right, how you want to deploy, how you want to integrate, all these options are immense. Okay, you have your requirement, and based on that, right, you can modify this product. And that is one of the major key factor, right, the performance, the features, and the flexibility, right, it offers is immense, and that is where it is getting more and more popular. So with that, I think we already came with the time where we have to stop for today's session. Okay, I hope you guys have some information around it, and we already have covered 3 demonstration sessions with that. From tomorrow onwards, like you can coordinate with the coordinator we have, okay, and she will guide you what will be the next step. So the candidates who are really serious for this training, right, and they have a confidence, right, they wanted to like get some really good knowledge around this particular product, and this product has a lot of what you can say, why you are doing this training is to get a job, and it has a good job market. So please register yourself, and the other details will be shared by the coordinator, where you can join from tomorrow and onwards. With that, I'll stop for now. And if you guys have any questions and queries, again, I'll be happy to answer them, but you have to ask. Okay, so I'll take it as no, guys. With that, I'll wish you a great day ahead and great start of the new week and new month. Okay,